Right, this is a new confidence. It's number 4 in Microjazz 1 by Christopher Norton. There's a couple of things to watch out for in this, and I'm going to go through them one by one. The first thing is to make sure this left hand is very, very bright, but very light and intensely staccato. So we want this top line to sound like that. What you don't want is either to have them too long, which means that the whole piece loses its bounce and its brightness, or too loud. And again, it loses its brightness. It keeps a certain amount of bounce, certainly at that volume, but it does lose that kind of bright sense of accompaniment there in the left hand. Now the other thing is, if you look down to line 4, it does get a little bit more complicated with the notes. So what we need to do is to make sure we always start on a 5th finger on this first E. So it's over the top of those F sharp and G sharp. Now the next bar is marked as a 5. I like to use a 4 because then you don't have to move your hand, and if you don't have to, why would you? And then you're back again for this one. Now this has got a little chromatic bit in it from the F sharp, G, G sharp, A. And as you can see, I've used a 3-1, 3-1 because that's a standard chromatic fingering. So there's 2 ways of fingering this little 2 bars here. One is 5, which you're on anyway, so you would use it. 3, 1, 3, 1. The other way is to play it just as a kind of run up through your fingers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Different people prefer different fingering for that, so try both and see which one you feel most comfortable with. Now you land on 2, but ideally, sorry, you land on a 1. Ideally you should have a 2 there. So you do have to change. The only reason that that's a 2 is to make line 3 easier to get to a thumb, but there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't play that with a thumb. It's just a little bit more of a jump to get to line 3. Right hand. Now this is, again, we talked about this with a little bit with strutting, about this funny rhythm that looks like it's semiquavers, dotted quavers and semiquavers, but actually isn't. It's more of a triplet swing rhythm. So the right hand, 1 and a 2 and a. That makes the rhythm far too sharp. Far too sharp. Instead it's 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 4, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So it's got to have that kind of triplet feel to it. Whoops. Has been very much to do with the title of the piece, which is New Confidence, that at the beginning it doesn't sound very confident. It sounds very, very small, very not very out there, not communicating anything much apart from the kind of this idea of it being inconfident and very small and very, very, very quiet. And then as the piece progresses, it gradually gets more confident, and as it gets more confident, it rises in dynamic and also it rises in range. So we start down here, piano, really mousy, and we end up here, up this end of the piano, not only higher, but also louder. So it gives this idea of now we've got it, we're confident, it's strong. With a really big flourish on the end. So if you think about the dynamics as not so much thinking what are they marked as, again, they're marked as this to, we have to have dynamic markings in music obviously, but if you can understand why the markings are there and what they actually mean, it's going to be far more beneficial not only to understand the music and to be able to play it, but also to memorise what's actually going on. So we start very mousy. As it rises up on the end of the second line towards that, it starts to get a bit louder, so it's feeling a little bit more confident, and then it rises again with a little duck there towards this climactic point. And the actual climactic point's at the end, but veering off into this climactic point where everything is much more confident, it's bigger, it's louder, it's more intense, it's stronger, and it's higher.